Okay, welcome to AZ Cactus Tack. We're here on a beautiful December 2024 day. Probably, I think there's 2 days left in the month, and nice, bright, and sunny. And I am about to attempt to install my first Optic. It's an LPVO from Arken. It's the EP8. I've never installed an Optic before. As they say, I've watched a couple of YouTube videos, read a couple of articles. I'm going to do my best job at getting this installed today on my HK556A1, and hopefully we can get that done. We can get it a little bit zeroed in by the end of the day, and I'll just take you along with the journey. And again, feel free to point out anything where I may have gone wrong or south, and any suggestions that you have. Again, not an expert with this, but looking to learn more and get that put on the rifle and begin to use it. So let's go along with the journey. All right, the first thing that I want to try to do is just to get the eye relief set. So I've got this thing zoomed in to 10 power, and I'm going to try to get it adjusted. I have it mounted pretty much as far back as I can get it. I'm assuming you leave your iron sights on, at least I am with this mount. And then the key thing is trying to maintain where these rings are going to be set. So my plan is sort of to tighten these rings down just a little bit, just so I can get the mount off of the rifle, put the rifle in the bracket once I have the eye relief set. That's the game plan, so we'll see how that works. So we'll go ahead and try to figure this thing out. I've got this mounted and just slightly finger tightened down to where I can get it as far back as I can, at least with the pick rails. And I'm gonna just sort of lean in. I've got it zoomed in to 10 power, and that's actually not too bad. There's a little bit of black left. I'm definitely going to have to adjust. Sort of just dialing in the focus on my eyes right now with the reticle. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, that's actually pretty good in terms of, I forget what you call this focus right here, but I'm trying to just get it. It's a diopter. I think that's what it's called. Okay, so now let's try to figure out where I can get the scope mounted. I'm actually pushing it. Let's see, where do I have this thing? I have it pushed back pretty far. Yeah. No, definitely not there. I think that's the best eye relief I'm getting. Like right here. There's a little bit of black around, but not too much. I think that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten these rings down just to hold the spot. And then I'll get this over and the rifle over to the bench. I'll try to get the rifle leveled. I'll go ahead and put this back on. Then I'll probably take the rings on and try not to move the scope as much as possible. And we'll see how that plan works out. So let's move on to phase 2. Okay, the first thing I want to try to do, I've got the rifle brought over to the bench, is I just want to make sure the rifle's level in terms of its elevation. So we are way off. This, I think, needs to come up there's the level mark for the horizontal. I went ahead and I added this barrel level just while I was at it. We'll have to make adjustments to that later, but at least right now it looks like the rifle is horizontally as level as I can get it out here at the range. Make sure that it's level this way. So we've got it leveled out this way, and I'm just making adjustments, you know, ever so slightly. Just screwing these handles. Nope, that's definitely not it. We've come out of level. Okay, I'm still not quite there. About right there. And then on this, I'm just making some adjustments on this barrel level with this little adjustment here. I've got it tightened up pretty tight up from the bottom, and then I'm just adjusting this ever so slightly. So basically, as I lift this off, this will now be my true level right here. Up. That's the level there, and then I've got it pretty level down here. So now I think we're ready to get the scope mount and ready to put that back on the rifle. And hopefully we don't lose where I have it set, and then we can begin to level the scope itself. Okay, there we go. We got that mounted on. Okay, got that back in level. All right, so let's go ahead and tighten these down a bit, and then I'm just going to do oh, actually I forgot one step. I should probably put some oil. At least I saw people putting oil on the bottom of this stuff. I don't know why, but they were. So I'll go ahead and do it. If anyone knows the answer to that, put that in the comments. But I saw a couple of videos where they did put a little bit of oil. And then as I tighten it down, I know that I need to move these forward. So that's what I'll go do. I'll go get a little bit of oil right now. Okay, got a little bit of oil. Again, I don't think we need to drench it. I think what I'll do is I'll just put a little down there. And maybe we'll just put a little bit right here. So, not quite sure what that's supposed to do, but they didn't really explain it. It just looked like it was part of the process. So, okay, now what I'll do is I'll move this forward. I think that's, again, when you mount these things, you want to push it forward to, you know, help with the recoil. So that's what we'll try and do. I can already tell this is a two-person job. Okay, I got that finger tight. I'm just continuing to press forward. Got that finger tight, and just continue to press forward. Okay, so got those finger tight. Let's see how we're doing on the level. We're still looking pretty good there. And I'm going to see if I can just get back in here a little bit just to double check and make sure that I like the relief. It's probably a bad idea, as I don't want to knock this thing out of level, but this is really hard to check when it looks like shit right there, but I know it was good up there. So I think what I'll do is I will go ahead and start to level this out. I know that's where I roughly had it when I was up there. And if I have to undo it and do it again, that's what I'll wind up doing. So I'm going to keep everything the way that it is. And as long as this mount is now sort of there on a level rifle, I'm actually pretty good with that. And we're still level there. So now I'll take off these top rings, and then we'll look to put the level back on this top here, and make sure that we get this level along and keeping the rifle in level as much as possible. And then we'll look to tighten it down based on the specs, and then I'll check it for relief again, and hopefully I won't have to redo it. So we'll play it by ear from there. The hardest part so far is wondering how I'm going to keep the relief in the right spot. And this seems like it's pretty precise work, and I am not a very precise guy, unfortunately, but I'll try to do the best that I can. Okay, we'll just put that set of top ring right there, keeping that at the front. And we'll get the rest of these. Okay. And we'll put that right over here. Okay, and then we'll take our other level here, and that's way out of level. Okay, now the question that I have is, do I leave this top protective? Maybe I take that off. Okay, rifle still level. This is way off here. Okay, we've got this as level as I can get it. The rifle's still level as far as I can tell. Let's go ahead and mount some of these top rings, and I need to get a little Loctite, and the hard part here is going to be keeping the spacing level, so never without fail. So all right, I want to put these screws out here, and it says the torque on these rings is 18 inch-pounds, and down here it's 30 inch-pounds, so something to keep in mind. So all right, I'll go ahead and get some Loctite, and we'll start this process next. All right, again, I'm not going to load these up with thread locker, but we'll just put a little drop on it. Oh shit, that just came out way more than I wanted right there. Aye. All right, well, that's what you get. We got a noob doing this shit, so we'll just put that in. Ah shit, did I knock it out? I'm just going to start it ever so slightly. Looks like we're still holding level there, thank God. God damn, man, this stuff is really coming out. I need it to be that much. Let's get into the practice of doing this cross pattern, because it's going to be a bitch to... It's going to be really hard to keep the spacing on these things. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just get the threads started on this one. And then I'll come back and then we'll start sort of trying to align the spacing on these things as I tighten all of these screws down. Now comes the hard part, trying to keep the spacing somewhat aligned. That one looks pretty closed off there. And it looks way more open there. So I'm gonna back off on these a little bit. It looks maybe just a little more on that side. So yeah, this is pretty tedious shit right now. The gap is really wider there, I think. Yeah, way wider. So these need to come down. I'm gonna go to this side now. So I'm just gonna keep working this, guys, right here until I can try to get these gaps as close as possible and then get ready to tighten these down more. So here's what I got right now. Just working these things. I'm just going to continue to work them, and they're almost there, ready to be tightened. So I think, you know, maybe I've got the gaps are slightly larger on this other side here, just by a touch. So I'll just keep working these down and get them as close as possible. Let's go ahead and again, I'm just going to go ever so slightly here. See that one like that. Just double check. Spacing looks good on that side. Spacing looks good on that side. So we'll just keep torquing, or haven't hit the torque yet. All right, here we go. Okay. 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 Great. Okay. Okay. And torque it once, torque it twice, just to make sure. Now we'll get these things. These things are 30-inch pounds. And we got these here, so we'll start in the center. Move to the outer. Okay, we'll just do everything once more. All right. Now everything seemed to hold level pretty good, solid. Now let's hope the eye relief is where we want it. And then I'll probably let this stuff set just a little bit, and then we'll try to zero this rifle in and try to get close, at least on paper. I know I was probably supposed to let it cure for 24 hours, but with my time, with the way that it is, I sort of need to at least get it going on paper, like right now, to a day. So, all right. Just checking the eye relief back here. It's okay. It's not the greatest. Like, I think the scope somehow needs to come back a little. Yeah, it needs to come back. So at the end, I just wasn't super happy with the relief. Once I, went down on the ground, tried some different things. So I would say, if you're trying to check your relief, definitely get in different positions. I really didn't do that, and I wound up moving the mount forward by about 2 pick rails, and I find that I get a much easier sort of eye relief when I do that, and just seems to work a little bit better. I would say it's still not perfect, but close enough for government work, and I'm probably not going to be shooting at 8x all that much, but it's better than what it was. And so I think now we'll send a couple of rounds downrange and try to get this thing on paper. I have a target about 50 yards out. Let's go ahead and fire off a couple of shots and see if we can get it on paper. Got it in on 8 power. Before we walk down, I want to send another 5 just to save some time. Okay, so it looks like we're definitely right and low, so we need to come up and we need to go left. So right now we'll look at the elevation and get the elevation, and then we'll work on the windage. Let's try this. All right, so if we do anything, it might be up just a little bit, but I would say that's pretty much zeroed, and I'll just make a minor adjustment up and we'll call that good. Okay, so I think today, all in all, pretty good success. We've got the Optic mounted. Hopefully I did it as best as I possibly could. There was another process where you're supposed to put the bottom of this turret right here on something that's level, and then you see how far off the level is up here and make some adjustments. But I think that's for pretty precise shooting. I don't know that I need to be that precise, but I did try to keep it as straight and level as I possibly could. My first pass at getting the relief right, at the end of the day, I really didn't like it, so I pretty much redid everything. So if there was one lesson I would pass on, it would be, try your relief. Like, I don't normally use a tripod. Maybe I should have just gone down on the ground, and that's where I maybe should try to set the relief. But I think getting your relief and getting it right on the turret is probably the hardest thing. I know a lot of people like to have this level here, like equal space, but I think for me, that's about as best as I can get it. Maybe if I play with it a little bit more, come back out once I get some time with it, maybe make some adjustments. But all in all, I feel I got it mounted. Seems to be okay. We got it somewhat zeroed. I'm going to bring it out in a couple of days and just get the zero really nailed down. I may even get down on the ground and try to do the zero that way. But you know, the EP8, at the end of the day, I just wanted to try a little more long range shooting. It's not something I think I'm going to pursue in any serious way. I've never had an optic like this. I've never had an LPVO. So I thought I'd give it a try. I think I'll run it through some competitions, see how I like it, and you know, just try something different, try to learn some new skill set, try to improve my shooting skills, and you know, just sort of broaden the whole experience. And I went with the Arken. Was sort of torn between that and a Vortex. I was not looking to spend over $1,000. I wound up going with the Arken. I think value for the dollar was what I was really sort of looking at. I'm sure there's a lot of pros and cons with these things. I'm sure you get what you pay for, but again, I'm not looking to get like Nat's ass accuracy. I'll be happy with minute of man at, you know, 500 yards. So we'll see how she does for me, and I'll keep you guys filled in. But from the range today, signing out. Thanks for joining us.
Minds with such pain.